The average person is constantly thinking about money, and not because they're greedy, but because they're worried, stressed, and living on the edge when it comes to their finances. Today, we're going to cover what it takes to be above average when it comes to money. For those that are new to my channel, my name is Anna, and here we talk about money matters. If this topic interests you, please hit that like button and subscribe. Now, let's talk about the 7 signs that you are above average money-wise. You are above average if you have an emergency fund. According to a recent poll conducted by CNBC and Momentive, at least 53% of Americans admit that they don't have an emergency fund, and that figure jumps up to at least 74% for those households with a total income below $50,000 per year. For those that do have an emergency fund, only 68% of Americans were equipped to cover a $400 emergency, and that's not much if you think about it. That won't cover a replacement roof that leaks. It won't cover your kid's braces, never mind a trip to the ER if someone gets hurt. You should target to have at least 3 to 6 months of expenses as an emergency fund, unless you're in a job that has less job security, which in that case, target something closer to a year. You are above average if you don't live paycheck to paycheck. According to another CNBC survey, 58% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Living paycheck to paycheck means that after paying expenses and bills, the person has little to no money left over for savings. Let's say that you've got an emergency fund that we just talked about. Great. From there, that doesn't mean your income should only cover your expenses. To be above average, you should have a portion of your income going towards your savings and retirement accounts. It may come as no surprise that living paycheck to paycheck disproportionately impacts lower income earners, but studies have found that 51% of Americans, even making 6-figure incomes, are also living paycheck to paycheck. And why? Often we set fixed expenses that are too high, and with high income earners, letting lifestyle creep come in, tying down Americans from across the income spectrum with long-term obligations such as mortgage payments, student loan debt, leased cars, auto loans, and credit card debts with high interest rates. These fixed monthly payments prevent the majority from saving, just barely covering expenses with each paycheck. This is a cycle we need to break so that we can set ourselves up to save 5%, then 10%, then 15%, and onwards to be above average. It is disheartening to see that so many people are essentially living on survival mode, slaves to the workplace, because they're dependent on the next paycheck. To keep up with inflation, everyone should be frugal to not only be appreciative of what they do have, but also because more of us need to in order to prepare for the future. Above average means that you make more than $57,000 per year. Now, we did just say a moment earlier that even individuals with 6-figure salaries are often living paycheck to paycheck. But let's be honest, generally it is easier to hit your financial goals if you made more money. In being above average, we may want to work towards not only strong defense in that we are saving aggressively and preventing lifestyle creep, but also strong offense in earning higher incomes to make saving easier. The median American worker earns an estimated $57,200 a year. Here's a breakdown of the data by age demographic of earnings according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics as of the first quarter of 2023. Above average means that you have more than $100,000 in retirement savings. Here is a snapshot of the median balance of retirement balances by age bracket. For those who don't know, median essentially means middle, getting rid of the outliers like the multimillionaires, which would skew the average. The median balance is a better representation of what is mid-range. For example, if you have one person that has $500,000 in their retirement balance and 4 people with $125,000 in their balance, the average would come out to $200,000. But with median, it takes the middle person, which would result in $125,000, which is really a better representation of what the average person is. You are above average if your household debt is less than $60,000. Now, when I say this, I know that early on when you buy your first home, you'll likely have more than $60,000 in debt, especially when factoring in your mortgage with your student loans. But there should be a plan of action in paying off your debt before you retire. Imagine living on Social Security while still having debt obligations. This is something that we want to avoid if possible, and we'll get to why we're talking about Social Security. When we look at the total debt by type, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, in our 60s as we approach retirement age, the average debt creeps up to $61,000. We should strive to have debts, including mortgages, paid off well before then. You are above average if your household net worth is above $122,000. As a quick refresher, net worth is the value of your total assets, such as all your bank accounts, checking accounts, savings accounts, and the value of the home that you own, and anything else that is owned that has monetary value, minus your liabilities, which include your mortgage, student loans, and other debt. When you track your net worth, the goal is that your net worth is trending upwards to make sure that you're headed in the right direction. It's less important that you have a higher net worth year to year, as there are fluctuations in the market. You just want to see that upward trend. You are above average if at retirement age, your only source of retirement income is not Social Security. According to National Institute of Retirement Security, 40% of Americans' only source of retirement income is Social Security, and Social Security was never intended to secure retirement as a standalone, but rather to provide approximately, really less than 40% of pre-retirement income. But with 40% of Americans relying on Social Security as their only source of retirement income, this is shocking to me, as we're really talking about a significant, almost half of the American population. And according to Social Security Administration, as of February 2023, the average Social Security check was $1,693, which comes out to just over $20,000 a year. We're talking about less than minimum wage in many states. So if we weren't able to save anything making more than $20,000 a year, then think about how not fun retirement may be and living on what is considered less than minimum wage for some states. Let's aim to be above average. A whopping 90% of Americans say that money is having an impact on their stress levels, and 34% are losing sleep over it. Sleeping well is needed for better cognitive function, better decision making, safer driving, happiness, and better health. And losing sleep over money is working against all of that. So this video is more about where you stack up against the average American. If you need relief, for at least half of you, you'll see that you aren't too far from or actually above average. You're in good company. But for those that have found that you are above average and are striving for more, know that these are not goals, but this is more of, especially in the world of personal finance, you'll want the target to be well above average so that you aren't living just on Social Security, you aren't still indebted into retirement age, and your retirement isn't delayed due to unexpected downturn in the stock market or relentless inflation. For goals, please check out my goals series, links provided in the description sections below. Anyway, that's a wrap. If you enjoyed this video and found value in it, please remember to hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video.